This open letter is for Mr. Ron DeSantis. I believe you are the governor of Florida, or so. I thought something came to my mind. So with due respects, all respects in place, I just thought something came to my mind that I had an answer for this question that I've heard that you ask, and it has been questioned for many other people that I really never had the time to sit down and try to explain because it takes a while. So I guess I'm doing this on video, if you can call it that. I'm doing this on tape, if you can call it that. I'm doing this on electronic answer, so it stays on record. The question that you asked, and many other people were wondering, that is, why is it that the universities, the teaching staff in the universities, and the whole environment becomes leftist, as leftist as any country would get. I mean, left in the United States is right in Northern Europe. We are talking scale. We are talking relative. Left in Uncle Sam's land is pretty much right to the right of the European right. But the point is this: the question was, why is that? Why do, to put it more bluntly, why do educated people become leftist? That is the question. Because where do you find educated people? You find most educated people, most concentration of educated people in universities, in colleges. Most concentration of people who like to learn stuff, study, read. The concentration is in universities of every society. That's where, people who do a lot of cognitive work end up in universities. People who do a lot of physical work end up in gyms, and people who are emotional, like to, have a lot of emotional work, do some kind of a job as social worker in a society, those who can handle too much emotion. So this is how humans are. If you can divide them into three groups, those who have cognitive IQ, those who have physical IQ, and those who have emotional IQ. They all go into their fields. Unfortunately, for some reason we've decided that those with cognitive aptitude should, take the lion's share of human productivity on Earth, and those who only have more emotional and physical aptitude, it's not needed. We don't feel it's needed, so you guys can, do with less, eat less. So, that's unfair. On the other hand, the idea is that all these people with different aptitudes should not have a discrimination in income, because they just don't have the kind of aptitude that you're looking for. If they're born in your society, the society has some, society has some kind of debt to them, because they're born, especially in the South, especially in places where abortion is prohibited or is looked down upon. You should even take more care of your whoever is born on your land, your citizens. Even you should even take even more care of them, because you're asking for them. You're asking all of them should be born. All of them should be allowed to be born. And then where is your take care mechanism? Where is your social take care mechanisms? the incomes do not match, a level that income of people. Whatever tokens that the system offers them, you don't have to call it a dollar. Whatever token that the system offers them, a token the system offers them. Well, your corporations, when they're not giving enough of those tokens to eat to their employees, trying to keep the prices down for whom? That your employee can't eat, and the employee has to be given some tokens from the government. So what the fuck is this? So the government, I think the government of Biden is right, basically saying that, okay, either pay these motherfuckers something they can live on, or you know what, they don't want to work, they don't want to work. We give them some stipend, some of these tokens fully, we give them the tokens so they can live. I guess you guys don't want employees, or else you would be paying enough for them to be able to live a normal life in a tribe. Here's the thing, Mr. DeSantis. Don't imagine that you're in charge of 10 million population of Florida. Think of you're in charge of 350 million population of a piece of geography in North America. The executive power, the chief of the tribe of, don't think of yourself in such large scale. Think of yourself that you are in charge of a tribe of 5. You're in charge of a tribe of 5. It's you. You're in a cave. When you're in a cave as a caveman, no disrespect, Mr. DeSantis, but when I was in a cave as a caveman with my wife and 3 kids, the 5 of us as cave people, and I was the chief of my tribe, as you are, whoever you are who are listening to this, if you are a chief of a tribe, you have been chosen as the chief of the tribe. You have to at least follow the caveman's rule. The caveman's rule was that if he had a wife and 3 kids, the caveman would not basically say, okay, I'm not going to feed that kid is not earning enough, so I'm not going to feed him, and I'm not going to clothe him, and he can sleep outside the door. You could not do that to a member of your, you're the chief of the tribe of your family, which is a cave family in some cave in, Central Europe, Northern Africa, Middle East, Southern Africa. You are a, caveman in charge of your tribe. You would not do that. You would not tell one of your kids to, one of your kids is 20% of your population. One of 5. So you would not tell one of your kids that, no, unfortunately you are worthless. You don't have the kind of aptitudes that will increase my bottom line. You do not have the kind of aptitude that increases my bottom line. Now, why that is important, that those who have of that aptitude so much, and through some circumstances they were exhibit, but they didn't have shortfallings, or they have less shortfallings, and for whatever reason they were lucky enough to be able to exhibit that aptitude. There are very few, because you don't need many to make a lot of money. You need few select to make a lot of money. That's why JP Morgan Chase went to buy the select European soccer teams, football teams. So the select payoff. So I lost the train of my thought that how, Mr. JP Morgan is buying the euro piece by piece. You have the NFL, you have the NBA. These are very select who have that particular aptitude, that is the physical aptitude, to such an extent that they fit inside that, few teams that you decide, this number is good enough. Not every, back alley needs to have a professional basketball team. We have one professional basketball team, and we, put it on the screen, and everybody can watch it on the screen. They don't need local basketball team. But the point is this, because, having one basketball team providing basketball entertainment for 350 million people, that's, becomes a very select group. You can't have 100 teams, you can't have 1,000 teams. You have a very select group. They get the very select people who have that specific aptitude get played really well. But what if the rest have that aptitude but not to such a great extent? Fuck them. They have to live in poverty because they don't have cognitive aptitude. They have less cognitive aptitude. Or they have to live in poverty because they have more emotional aptitude. So when it comes to this, Oprah had emotional aptitude so famously, that can sit and talk and exchange information and in a very emotional level and be emotional with people all the time. Who can do that? Very select people. But unfortunately, you don't need 10 million Oprahs. You need one Oprah. The media system just works on what is the best we keep, what is, even if it's second or third or fourth best, we have to excuse. So this is basically the way of the market. But the point is this: if they don't have cognitive aptitude, they don't have a use for you. So they're paid very shitty if they don't have cognitive aptitude. So they might have, loads and loads of emotional aptitude, loads and loads of physical aptitude, but excuse them that they don't have the cognitive aptitude. Imagine that, you really don't want that. A basketball player, a professional basketball player who is also a lawyer, it comes once in a lifetime. You see, Mr. Obama again, once in a lifetime. Somebody who has the physical aptitude and the cognitive aptitude. So the point is this, or others. I'm not just picking on him. Others, but most of the time, they don't match. The guy who has the cognitive aptitude can't jump for shit. But the problem is, they don't, always go together. So you see what I'm saying? The whole point, just because you don't see that many of people who have all kinds of aptitudes, the mere determining that, okay, since everybody doesn't have all these aptitudes together, let's see those with biggest, cognitive aptitude get paid the most, and those with less cognitive aptitude just goes down the line. And you know what, and based on this theory, that's the reason why I understand many years ago, I believe Reagan, the great Reagan, I guess he started closing insane asylums just to bring down the cost of the state. You don't want to provide any kind of services to your crazy, just pretending that they don't exist. Um, eh, can you do that? Yes, you can do that. You have done that. But the problem is, of course, the society has the sick and the weak and the young and the old. A tribe cannot tell the old man to, old man, go sleep outside the door. You're not pulling your weight nowadays. I mean, or else, or this is why I know you as a caveman or me as a caveman would not have done that, because then the civilization would not have reached at where we are. At one point, for that cave to not be a brothel, and if it didn't want to be a brothel or a titty bar, that society, that the young and the old and the weak stay out. This is a titty bar. We need the young and the hung. The point is this: at the moment that mentality went out, and the son took care of the father, and they didn't tell the stupid kid to sleep outside the door. The moment they didn't do that, they formed a society that had a chance to grow. You keep the old so they can have a talk with the very young. You keep the old just because you want to be kept too, because you think, let's keep them around to learn more of our traditions, more of our ways. That's how civilization formed. That is how civilizations formed. Coming to this point in time and saying that no, we don't need insane asylums. We don't, all Earth people are going through difficult times because their income is the number of tokens that they have been able to put together is limited now, and we don't think they should deserve to get any more tokens. Fuck them, let them sleep in the cold. Then that's where the social contract comes in. Social contract was the first contract that basically they put together in that cave, and they put a social contract and they said, yes, according to this social contract, we will not ask dumb Joe to sleep outside the door just because he's dumb, so he doesn't get any tokens, so he doesn't eat. You wouldn't do that to your retarded son. Just like that, then in 21st century on Earth, first law is like, we don't fuck the older guys. We take care of our sick, we take care of our young. So that's the whole social contract. And the reason we are here is because they abided by this rule, by this social contract, so civilization had a chance to grow. People didn't eat each other, like a wolf pack. It's sort of like the sick and the old and the young. Let's eat them. If you can't piss on it, you can't fuck it. If you can't eat it, then fuck it or piss on it. That's the old, redneck tonic for this. But the point is this: you don't do that, because that's the breakdown of civilization. Civilization has taken responsibility of forming some kind of a social contract, coming up with some kind of social contract to be able to keep the society, to keep the cave family together. They had to agree on that contract, or else people would go missing at night, and they have meat for 3 days. It just becomes the theater of the absurd. So now the reason the universities are, always end up being leftist or left-leaning, whatever center you draw for it. I mean, if the guy says, let them eat, that's a red line. If that's a red line for you, then you're starting from, a very right place. We are starting from fuck 'em, let them eat dirt. And that K family would not have stuck together and kept on forming and extending and expanding and putting fairy tales together and coming up with culture and coming up with craft and coming up with technology. It would not happen if they started eating each other. So the whole idea, and the idea of a leftist, why is in the universities, first of all, let me finish that sentence, why you find leftists in the universities is because they do cognitive work. And people who do cognitive work and think about, understand how everything is connected to everything else, because the first thing that you get through cognitive work, you understand that no man is an island to itself. No incident is an island to itself. A great many causes have resulted into every single small action. A lot of factors have come together. For every single action that we're talking, we're talking, very spiritually at this point, but every little action, a lot of action results into every little action, just like the other side of the butterfly effect. It's sort of like, yes, every small action may, cause a big action, but a lot of big actions also have to come together to cause a small action. It's the other way around too. So in order to find solutions, you don't, you can't just ignore them, and you can't just blame one type. As in, like, this is the cause of the problem. You can't. You see what's up? Like, what is now is happening to, unfortunately, guys who, the MAGA people. What happened was that, I think, but who am I? This is just a guy speaking his mind. Have no political affiliation with anybody. I'm not from this planet. But the point is this: you cannot say that we as a society don't have responsibilities. And the people in universities are the ones who actually, do their job is thinking and coming up with solutions, are the ones who actually know the solution, and they're telling you that the solution is, everybody has to eat, or, things won't stay stable. Everybody has to feel appreciated. Has everybody in your tribe, in that caveman family household, everybody needs to be respected, everybody needs to be heard, and everybody needs to be taken care of. Even if they're sick, they're stupid, they're old, they're shit. If it walks and it talks, it's one of us. It's our responsibility as humans. If it walks and it talks, whatever comes up to you and starts talking, it becomes your responsibility. Even when you're walking down the road and you're passing a guy, You're responsible for his safety, he's responsible for your safety. That's why all these laws that we go while driving, it shows that we understand this much, that everybody's safety depends on everybody else's safety. And well, safety costs money. And safety means, food safety, shelter safety, education safety, health safety. All of these safeties means that everything is safe. Now, some can provide for themselves, some cannot. Some cannot. And, there is physical disability, and then there is mostly, mental disability. It's the cognitive capacity has to be there. If for the job that is, provided, that is available. But recently that is also not needed with all this automation and AI. Even slowly but surely, even cognitive aptitude is not enough for humans to eat. For the past couple of centuries, emotional people, you pulled people out of tribes from all around the world, and tribes that stayed together. Doesn't matter. You guys have been, you guys have been, stepping out of your tribes, trying to take over other tribes, and the whole idea is sort of like, folks, to have a stable growth, as your economists like to call, you need stability and happiness. Stability and happiness. And to be happy is basically, people need to be appreciated. And how does the system appreciates people is with tokens. You want to call them, dollars, you want to call them yens, you want to call them yuans, you want to call them juans. People, need that token. Shows people how much they're being appreciated. And that how much being appreciated, if you give a lot of tokens to people with cognitive abilities, and like 2 tokens, shed tokens to people with physical, only physical aptitude, and shed tokens with people with more emotional aptitude and less cognitive aptitude. Well, if they're getting less tokens, they're eating less. I don't think it's going to help their children or their survival, because you're giving them less, they're eating less. You're slowly eliminating your diverse population to only keep very smart people. We only want we give a lot of tokens to very smart people with cognitive aptitude, a lot of tokens, and they are loaded. People with little cognitive aptitude, but loads of emotional aptitude or loads of physical aptitude, they can eat dirt. But the funny thing is, now with the AI, the cognitive aptitude is also has become optional. You really, I think Goldman Sachs can be run with 3 people, and an AI called, Sachs. I mean, at the end, I'm sure in 10 years or so, Goldman Sachs is going to be like, 12 people who own it and an AI who runs it. And because no more cognitive aptitude is needed even at that scale. Folks, you gotta hope he doesn't shoot me. Anyway, folks, Mr. DeSantis, dude, I'm not sure what, why these are difficult subjects. But the point is this, sir, with all due respect, people in universities are leftists because they see the situation. They see that a lot of the population is being treated unfairly, but by a few who are happen to end up wealthy. The wealthy are fine and dandy and everything is good, and but there are a lot of people are being. That's why you say, okay, why these people are socialists? Because the cognitive people are socialists. People with cognitive aptitude are socialists because that's where you understand that everything is related, that your safety is related to how much education your neighbor's kid, how good is his education. Your safety is depend on how good is your neighbor's kid's education. Not even your neighbor, because of because everybody uses the same streets to drive or walk or ride on. Your safety also again depends on somebody who got educated on the other side of the land, because everybody's safety becomes a little more dependent on everybody's education, everybody's level of understanding. But the educated people eventually get this, that everything is related. Educated people eventually get this, that everything is related. And that's why they become a little socialist, because a little leftist in your view, not communist, but socialist, because they feel society, the well-being of the society, or the well-being of the most number of people that we can satisfy in a society is more important than whatever else anybody thinks is important, because the most important thing is stability of the society. Because society unstable, I mean, let them eat cakes. I mean, we have it in the folk world that the idea of Marie Antoinette, but it's even there. It's like eventually the Bastille happened, and if you ask me, the guys who went to the House of the People, who are condemned now because they didn't have a real plan. But the point is this: that was the Bastille Day but that was the American Bastille Day, or as close to Bastille Day as Americans could muster. But the point is this: the unsatisfaction is mostly economical. And the idea of blaming China for it. If you need to blame somebody, sir, you need to blame capitalism for it. It wasn't China who said, bring me all your jobs. China had people, they could handle the jobs. You could have taken these jobs to Brazil. You could have taken these jobs to Nigeria. The Chinese were more, put together. They put together a better, management system. And, they're much, more hardworking than, Nigerians or Brazilians, or they're more organized and more hardworking. So ideal workers. So, and very smart. So it wasn't the Chinese that took the jobs away from the MAGA people. It was, the American capitalists. The capital, Das Kapital, found lower wages somewhere else. And Das Kapital, that includes even, I believe Mr. Trump and his daughter and everybody else who has a brand and has hired manufacturers in China to produce and put their name on it. That was capitalism. Capitalism had found a nice place that doesn't cost much to produce things. Nice put together, well managed, orderly place to produce at cheaper cost, because life is over there is cheaper. The reason the work in China is cheap, or now the work in China maybe not so cheap, the work in Malaysia is cheap, because life is cheap. Why life is cheap? It didn't have to be their life could be cheap, but because they live so far away from the heart of the empire, their life is very cheap, both figuratively and in reality. Their life is cheap. Their existence is cheap, so they can charge less for their hourly labor. It is so, and the capitalists took advantage of the situation that their life is cheap, so they can work for less. And the same capitalists that also paid whatever labor that they had to, hire in the motherland, they basically, try to pay them as little as they could get away with. So cheap production and cheap service in, offering cheap labor, because Uncle Sam was picking half the tab because their employees were on welfare as well, or food subsidies as well. So you thought, I'm not sure what you guys think communism is, but having a large bunch of people living in poverty does qualify as communism. And with having, eliminating so many aptitudes from physical to emotional and now cognitive aptitudes from the pool of, job applicants, you're eliminating it. Humanity doesn't have any more aptitudes. It's physical, it's emotional, and it's cognitive. And now with the AI, you got rid of cognitive. So basically, you don't have any use for humanity. That means those tokens that the system used to give to humans, those tokens used to give, these humans used to provide a certain skill, work, show certain aptitude and get, eat. And then the system slowly didn't need their aptitude. Their physical aptitude, their emotional aptitude was no longer needed. And now their cognitive aptitude. What do you want them to do? Mr. DeSantis, the whole idea of socialism is that, okay, let's see how we can feed our people. Maybe we don't no longer need we don't need them to make money. We are making money through automation. We have automated our lines, and we don't even need managers, and there is me and my left hand and my right hand, and we own a company, and everything else is automated. How your people are going to eat, sir? No aptitude needed. Please sleep outside the door. So that's why the people in universities are leftists, because they understand this. People in gyms like Miss Greenie, she doesn't understand this because she wasn't in a chess club. Let's put it this way. She was in the gym. She has physical aptitude. She doesn't have cognitive aptitude. I'm not sure what she's doing in a cognitively demanding job. I'm not sure what she's doing there. Again, those who have cognitive aptitude usually don't have physical aptitude. And those who have physical aptitude usually have less cognitive aptitude. There is no Superman. So the point is this. What do you want them to do? Eat each other? And again, there didn't used to be anybody with emotional aptitude either. That's the whole idea of you guys being white male, running everything, and now this white male idea has become a little offensive, is because white males, in reality, you guys, great people, but my pink skinned friends, you guys have a lot of cognitive aptitude, but in your meetings you miss emotional aptitude and physical aptitude. But the point is this, that's why women being in the system is they bring some emotional aptitude to the whole business of thinking something beside numbers. That's a good thing. The feminine the better, because they care. I mean, having the white males bringing cognitive aptitude and have some emotional aptitude here, and trying to work some kind of thing out, because and it sounds very nice. I understand. It sounds very nice that yes, we are patriotic and we don't, we don't like freeloaders and we don't accept freeloaders. But Mr. DeSantis, with due respect, there is no more jobs left. There are very few jobs left that the robots cannot do better. And slowly that's fading away. I mean, even McDonald's have come up with the screens that you touch to order at their respective places, that you order via screens. So they just need cooks. They don't need cashiers. They need cooks, only cooks. And in a few years, they won't even need cooks. So, biggest employers, the fast food service industry is going to become, no more work. It's not because people's demand for an income is too much. It's not because of that. It's because people have to eat. You cannot eat with $10 an hour. You cannot eat with $8 an hour and have a normal life. You can have a very poverty-stricken life, make $7.50 an hour, and live by yourself, and your highlight would be Saturday Night Live on TV. That's a poverty-stricken life. That's the highlight of the day, is Saturday Night TV. You can, some people say, yes, no, they should, work harder to become something better. What if there is less cognitive aptitude? They should live in poverty for the rest of their life because they don't have enough cognitive aptitude? Maybe they're really good in emotional aptitude. Maybe they're very good in physical aptitude. They're also humans. They also can talk and walk and, communicate with you. They're not elephants. They're not, horses. They're people. They communicate with you. and they have the right to drive in the same streets with you. So, I mean, they have to, besides driving in the same street, they have to stop at the same red lights as you. Do you want to have any kind of understanding with the environment around you, or you want a very hostile environment where everybody has to be armed all the time because the environment is very hostile, because we didn't bother to educate everybody, we just educate a select few. That's why the society is a little hostile, because not everybody is well educated. You can do that. Some may argue you already have done that, but you see, the result is not very good. The result is not very good. Capitalism, great for, personal gain, great for personal proof of personal genius or personal worth. But if there are at least 30% of the society have cognitive aptitude, a lot of cognitive aptitude, 30% of the society has a lot of physical aptitude, and 30% of our society has a lot of emotional aptitude. What to do? Only 30% of the society eats well. The other, 66%, we have no social contract. Please, the retarded child sleep outside the door. The my father, you're too old, you're not pulling your weight good enough, you sleep outside the door. And that newborn, too much, I had enough of hunting, I can't hunt anymore, I don't want to hunt a little more for the new guy. Put the new guy outside the door. But the only objection that you have about this matter, you object of putting the new guy outside the door, the infant. That you object to. Well, keep the new one, but the old and the sick and the retarded kid and everybody that's not pulling their weight as far as you're concerned, you sleep outside the door. Again, you can do that. You have done that, but that's why there is a lot of stress on the seams. You can force it, staple it, but when there is too much stress on the seam, the appropriate action is to mend. Give it a break, take it off, see how you can extend it, how you can cover more, so there won't be too much pressure on the seam. Because there is pressure. And stapling and trying to, force it or trying to starve in order to, you can do that. You have done that, literally starved, but it's 21st century AD. You have a much more colorful and entertaining society if you take care of everybody. You have and you want that. Unless you're Amish. I mean, if you're not Amish, if you're not very conservative, you want a colorful society. You want the jazz club. You want the, next generation musicians. And you want to teach them well. So they put good vocabulary, use good vocabulary. So they could put good thoughts into their lyrics. Instead of bullshit lyrics, at least they put some good material in there because they got well educated by Uncle Sam. I mean, Mr. DeSantis, I'm sure you're wondering about, I'm sure, if you're not wondering, I'm sure your father was wondering what is with this, garbage language in today's, music, urban music scene. And you're wondering why is there garbage language? Because you haven't paid for their education. Why is there garbage language in the music? Because you haven't paid for their education, sir. You cannot expect to reap great reward if you haven't invested anything in it. Your teachers have one of the lowest salaries. Nobody says the teachers that you have right now are worth more money, but I'm sure if you increase the pay base of a teacher, you increase it to $150,000 a year. Base pay for a teacher. You make it equivalent to a good, top lawyer. Good lawyer. A district attorney, $150,000 a year. Then you would get the kind of quality teacher. Maybe these teachers are not worth that much, but if you increase their pay, you don't have to touch any of their laws. You don't have to fuck with the unions. Just increase their pay to $150,000 a year. Each teacher, even kindergarten teachers. See what kind of talent you attract to the teaching profession. And then in 25 years' time, you will have the kind of lyrics in urban music scene that you would be proud of. I'm sorry, I'm sure you already all know all of this. No disrespect. I thought since you know all of this, you should know that, other people also know all of this. And that's why universities are a little leftist, because, their job is thinking. That's where all the thinking people congregate. A lot of, as I said, so they think and they feel the solution is taking care of the society to a degree that the society is, safe for everyone, compassionate, and, you are proud of that you are taking care of the crazy and the old and the sick and the weak and the retarded and the less retarded. You don't concentrate only on cognitive aptitude, because that eventually will cause, great income inequality, and it has already done so. That's why, the MAGA people went to House of People, took it over. That was, storming of the Bastille. That was the people who had all these jobs that is all now mechanized, and little by little, even, and you can't stop that. You cannot stop that. You should not, because it's more efficient. It's more efficient to have no workers, period. Well, workers used to have a job. They used to have the system used to give them a token for the aptitude that they had. Now that the aptitude that they have is no match with the jobs that are on offer. How do you want to fix it except by some kind of, thinking what is for the best benefit of the society, beside, letting you know, leaving it to the gods or God, or leaving it to, oh, some things happen, but fuck them, I'm safe. You can do that. You have done that. But, you know, it's just, you know, too much stress at the seams. That's why you have the MAGA people. Because, you know, they remember the olden times where, you know, they used, the system used to give them some tokens that they could eat with. Now the system, they don't have anything that the system wants. So the system is not giving them enough tokens. What do you want to do, sir? Let them eat cake?